We have been talking about Stellar for quite some time. And in fact, one of the biggest things that I've actually spotlighted around Stellar is the use case application for retail, P2P transfers and, things like that. The main thing was always payments, right? Like payments is the key thing around crypto. It always has been the killer use case, even though we tried to find other ones in between the years, right? Like, for an example, going back to 2018 throughout, like, I would say even 2021, the big thing was always, payments. Crypto is going to revolutionize the way that we, send and receive payments. But then also during that time, everyone was like, all right, no, it's not payments that's the killer use case. It's going to be gaming, or it's going to be this, or it's going to be that. Even DeFi summer of 2020 was like a huge one. But somehow we did a full circle right back into payments. Today, the big killer use case is now still payments. How? Well, it's stablecoins. Everyone is talking about stablecoins today. And what I find very interesting about that, okay, is if we go to Stellar's website and we go under real use cases and we just go to payments, right off the rip, what they are describing to us is payments that settle instantly, 24/7, 365, very low transaction cost. You get access to this huge network. But guess what? Payments are happening with stablecoins every single day. These networks were designed for payments, and now that stablecoins are becoming this huge hot topic, guess what? These networks are already here to reap the rewards of that. Stellar is one of them. And what I find crazy about this is everyone's acting like this is something new, or like we didn't see this coming. It was always about payments. Now, we're going to circle back to this, but I do want to go over a few things. Number one, permissionless. We did get a few announcements around permissionless, which, by the way, this is happening on the 24th through the 26th. You want adoption, Google, PayPal, Bridge, and Stellar. Catch this panel on what it takes to make crypto spendable, swappable, and seamless. Unleashing payments at the speed of the internet. Yeah, Permissionless is probably one of the biggest events around crypto. It's hosted by Blockworks, and there's a lot of great names that are tied to this. There is a significant amount of discussions going on at Permissionless this year. And just to kind of look at some of the sponsors here, look at some of the names, this is a stacked event. Some great names from the industry. I'm sure that you guys already saw, Ripple up there. You have Stellar here. You have Render. I mean, you have Avalanche as well, Casper. I mean, there's so many huge names from the space. And then you also look at the companies, right? And this is where you can kind of start to see the convergence happening in real time from, the TradFi space and the traditional world to the digital world. Because just looking at this, right off the rip, you could see a few big names. I see immediately JP Morgan, Fidelity, MasterCard. You also have Vanik on here, PayPal, Stripe, Visa. I mean, the list goes on and on. So we're already starting to see the big names that always talk down on crypto now actively participating in crypto, which I love to see because, again, this confirms that we were right all along, right? Like this entire time that we were talking about crypto and all of these big players were talking down on it. Who was right? We were, because we are visionaries. But I'm very excited about this event because of course, Stellar participating in a big way. Initially, they're going to be on a few panels. Obviously, the unleashing payments at the speed of the internet is definitely a big one. And we could see a few things that they're also going to be hosting here, like, for an example, marketers in the arena with Stellar, which is definitely going to be a big one because we're just kind of getting the Stellar name out there. We're doing some marketing strategies around blockchain and crypto. So I'm sure that's definitely going to be an exciting one. But I'm more so excited about the payments one. I think that the payments one is going to put a spotlight on how big Stellar has become for, tokenization use cases, for, even stablecoin use cases as well, which, we'll kind of go over in this video. But more so talking about tokenization, talking about, payment use cases and things like that. Remember that Franklin Templeton, which is a huge giant, obviously, did announce their Benji technology platform connecting right into Stellar, We actually have over here from Danielle Dixon, from first launching on Stellar.org in April of 2021 to expanding globally with GBenji this past March. It's been amazing to see how Benji has evolved over the years. And yeah, this is how these big asset management companies are utilizing blockchain. Meet Franklin Templeton's Benji technology platform, tokenized securities, intraday yield, instant 24/7 wallet-to-wallet transfers. This is all enabled with, of course, Stellar technology as well. When we look at Benji, there's $741.5 million of total asset value on chain right now. Stellar is number one with over $432 million worth of value tied to it. You could see the pie here compared to even Ethereum, Solana, Base, Arbitrum, Avalanche, Polygon. I mean, Stellar is killing the game right now. But on top of this, look at the names that are like the custodian for this. JP Morgan is the custodian for this. A lot of people actually don't know that, but it's crazy because, again, it confirms that we have these big players already involved. And Stellar is also at the, forefront of this. Now, like I said in the beginning of this video, right? Payments have always been the killer use case. We talked about DeFi summer. What about stablecoin summer? Back in April, Stellar said stablecoin summer is upon us. They had to also say that no speculation here. We're simply observing the increasing stablecoin transaction volumes, growth in institutional players, and evolving regulatory frameworks in the space. Well, guess what? They were right. It is stablecoin summer. How do we know? Look at stablecoins. Let's go and look at stablecoins right now. We see the market cap of stablecoins. By the way, the market cap is inaccurate. We actually did hit $250 billion just recently. The monthly transfer volume also did hit a significant high recently. It's kind of down a little bit, but we were nearing $3 trillion if we actually look at the monthly. So let's actually look at this. Combined, I mean, we hit like 2.7 trillion back in May. This recently did show about 2.9. Right now we're sitting at about like 2.82 trillion, but that's still pretty significant. But the overall growth here for stablecoins is, it's crazy to witness this, right? Because what this is showing us, and by the way, we're just getting started. We're halfway through the year. And if we're keeping pace, we're going to overshoot 2024. But it's crazy to witness this in real time, because if we go back just a few years ago, stablecoins were definitely talked about, but not in the way they are today. For an example, like integrations within the government system. On top of this, when we think about Stellar, they have 6 stablecoins already on their network. We could see the stablecoins down here. We have the Canadian dollar digital money, Australian digital dollar, the GMO JPY, so the yen. We also have ZUSD. We have URS as well, which is from Circle. This is the Euro stablecoin. And then also USDC. Now, when we think about stablecoin value, is it massive? No, we're sitting at about 160 million, but that's still pretty good for a network like Stellar, because when we think about stablecoins by market capitalization on some of these networks, let's actually go to the networks, we can see that's kind of right on par with like the top 20, where XLM actually sits, because the top 10 right now is at 522.6 million. I do suspect that we're going to start to see these networks like Stellar grow significantly over time. And also, this doesn't even include PayPal's stablecoin, which did get announced on June 11th, which is definitely a big one. And they recently did make a video actually talking about why this partnership with PayPal is actually significant for Stellar, which we'll go over here in a second. But think about all of these stablecoins coming to these networks, and think about what it actually truly unlocks for a network like Stellar that's fully focused on P2P and retail payments. Yes, they're still focused on other things, but this is enabling that big revolution that we've talked about for years. What are we talking about? We're talking about cross-border payments, revolutionizing the way that money moves around the world. This is on par with the original killer use case. Now let's go over here and listen closely to why this PayPal partnership is such a big deal.
I think the most important value that we focus on at Stellar is actually connecting blockchain to real world use cases. And what's incredibly exciting is a launch with a global institution like PayPal launching PYUSD is so valuable because PayPal has been designed to build a connected two-sided network of merchants and consumers. Now, the ability to go leverage this partnership with MoneyGram, a global business with 450,000 physical locations across 150 countries, brings so much promise to what blockchain can actually deliver. And I, for one, am incredibly excited for the potential for that to happen on a network like Stellar that is designed to really solve real world use cases.
So yeah, I mean, listen, this partnership, to me, what's really exciting about players like PayPal, launching stablecoins on networks outside of the scope of like Ethereum is that we're starting to see recognition put on these networks that have been around for years and years and years, that have been doing some great stuff, and that, they really do have disruptive tech behind them, but you really wouldn't know it because nobody really talks about these networks. Like Stellar and XLM definitely have been talked about for years. I'm not going to say that it hasn't, but I still think that there's a lot of shade thrown to, Stellar's side, simply because everyone wants to focus on the flashiness, right? For years, it's always been VC-backed tokens and DeFi tokens and gaming tokens. But today, with stablecoin summer basically being here and stablecoins growing significantly, it kind of feels as though we're kind of shifting the focus to these networks that have always been focused on payments and are basically becoming homes for a lot of these stablecoins. And, I think that it's at a great time where we are getting closer to getting stablecoin legislation fully enacted and signed into law. I think that this is going to be huge. Danielle Dixon also did say the Genius Act will protect consumers and ensure that the United States remains a leader in blockchain innovation. Passing this bill with a bipartisan majority is huge for the digital assets industry. Let's keep the momentum going. Onward to the House. And yeah, on the 17th, we got the Genius Act passing in a monumental vote, paving the way for regulated stablecoins in the US. Once this really does get passed fully through, that's when we are going to see these networks like Stellar really wake up. Why? Well, because we have, 6 stablecoins, soon to be 7. And it's not just Stellar, obviously. I know that it's not just Stellar, but the fact that Stellar is number 3, technically number 2, going off of just layer 1s, because ZK Sync Era is a layer 2. The fact that Stellar is number 2 on the tokenized total value on chain, and also has over 6, almost 7 stablecoins on the network as well, I think it positions Stellar to really reap the rewards of stablecoin legislation getting fully passed through. I also think that this is going to really wake up the tokenization market in a big way, because stablecoins actually enable tokenization at scale, and it actually unlocks so many additional use cases for tokenized things of value. The future is very bright, and I do think that Stellar has to be, definitely in the top 5 if you really think about it, because of how significant Stellar is around payments and payment use cases. Obviously, today, that's not the case, but I do think that XLM will essentially be in the top 10 at least at some point in time. There's a lot of great projects in the space that I could say could be in the top 5. I think Stellar, for having that longevity in this market, for having the tech behind it, for having all the moves that they've been making as well, and for being a tokenization powerhouse, I do think that XLM could definitely be a good mention to be in that top 5. But we'll have to watch, wait, and see what happens. But the future is very bright for these networks that have strong utility, strong real world use case value behind them as well, and are paving the way for this tokenization and stablecoin revolution to become a reality. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, Nick, thanks for watching. Peace out.